Well, the dirty, grimy, and disgusting boxing industry strikes once again as we are seeing all over the headlines right now that Ryan Garcia has tested positive for a banned substance, which is called Ostarine, which we're going to go over in this video. We're going to break down from a medical site what Ostarine is, how it helps you, so we'll go over that. And then we're going to go through everything that Ryan Garcia has said since this news was announced. We're going to take a look at what Devin Haney's saying and really what my thoughts are behind this whole thing, because you smell that? I smell a bunch of BS, and I think that this is a load of crap. And this is, again, ladies and gentlemen, I have been so adamant about this. The boxing industry is so dirty, it is so slimy, and just reeks of just foul odors 24/7, whether it's judging, refereeing, dirty tactics behind the scenes, whatever they are. We're going to cover all that in this video. But first, I want to start with two questions that I have, right? If they knew that Ryan Garcia had tested positive, why did they let the fight happen? Now, you could sit there and say, well, because of business, right? Because they want this fight to happen, because if it doesn't, the way boxing cards are built, if you lose the main event, it's all over. Nobody's showing up and nobody's tuning in and nobody cares anymore. Because with boxing, it's not like MMA where we have a decked out card, right? People really only realistically know who is in the main event, right? So you can't lose your main event. So now you're basically saying we're prioritizing business over the safety of our fighter, right? Because if someone tested positive, well, why are you letting them step in there, right? So that's number one. And then number two, if Ryan Garcia knew that he was taking PEDs, why would he be willing to do extensive drug testing if he knew honestly that he was taking things that would cause him to test positive and pop for something? These are just questions that I have, and I know that people are going to say, well, that was a 24-hour turnaround and all these different things. You don't think that they can't get a sample back faster than that? Like, that makes no sense to me, right? If you're going to test people, have this done in advance before the matchup to where there's enough time to get this before the fight actually happens. But why would they do that? Because it's all about business and it's all about money at the end of the day. That just validates that point to me. But I smell lies. I smell just grossness all over this. And let's get into right here what Ryan Garcia's dad had to say here. I'll throw it up for you. Look, people, it's so clear. Snack is part of Victor Conte. They sponsor Devin Haney, who is part of VADA testing. Victor Conte, lastly, who was the referee when Devin fought Loma? Harvey Dock. Now, who is the referee for Devin versus Ryan? Harvey Dock. Yikes, this is scary, people. Nothing is safe out there. Just a good beatdown that Ryan gave to Devin. Now they're trying so hard to take his win away from him. I have to agree there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in the lead up to this fight, which is very important to note, nobody thought Ryan Garcia was taking this serious, or most people didn't think he was taking this serious. They thought he was crazy. They thought he was just out of it. They were like, and you don't think Devin Haney and his team, they're like, I hope Ryan's taking this serious. They came in like, we're just going to steamroll Ryan Garcia. And Ryan went out there and whipped Devin Haney's rear end in front of the world. And I mean, he ate some shots, but he made it look pretty damn easy, man. I feel like we could agree there. Ryan Garcia pretty much controlled and dominated that fight. He looked great. He dropped Devin Haney multiple times. There were 3 knockdowns. There could have been more, right? Because the referees, we already know how slimy the referees are. We've seen just so many countless over the years. Just, this is why boxing is kind of faded in a way. Well, not kind of. They have faded because of things like this. And then we'll get into what Michael Benson is now reporting, which is, as of this morning, Eddie Hearns has revealed that Devin Haney wants the Ryan Garcia loss to be changed to a no contest to restore his undefeated record. I spoke to Devin last night. He's absolutely furious. The guy came in 3 pounds overweight and had PEDs in his system. He will want an immediate no contest. Regardless of Ryan's innocence or guilt, he had PEDs in his system when he fought Devin and came in 3 pounds overweight. If you're Devin, you're thinking, F me, I've been screwed. Devin Haney, before Ryan Garcia weighed in the day before at the press conference, They had made an agreement that Ryan Garcia would give this man $500K per pound that he comes in overweight. So at the end of the day, Ryan comes in 3 pounds overweight. Devin Haney makes a free $1.5 million. And now Devin Haney's going to complain about the weight. Now, I will say this. You should make weight, Ryan Garcia, right? You signed a contract to make a certain weight. You should make the weight, right? That's kind of disrespecting the sport and your opponent in a way. But to make it fair, he's like, hey, man, I'll give you $500K, per pound that I miss. That's $1.5 million that Devin Haney made before he even stepped in the ring. That sounds like, I don't know about you, but if my opponent's like, hey, I missed by 3 pounds, but I'm going to give you $500K per pound, I'm like, dude, missed the weight by 15 pounds. I don't care, man. Like, I'll take the $500K per pound. You know what I mean? Like, so who's complaining? So now, but because you lost, you weren't complaining when Ryan Garcia cut you that check for 1.5 mil, but now all of a sudden you care so much, and the weight was automatically a built-in excuse. That's why I hate when guys miss weight, number one, because yes, it is technically disrespectful, but also in the event that they win, now it's like a free excuse for the people to be like, well, he came in overweight, right? So nonetheless, you still took the fight, Devin Haney, and you made a free $1.5 million, okay? Let's talk about what Ostarine actually is, okay? We'll talk about what Ostarine actually is. I'm going to throw this up for you. This is on webmd.com. So an overview of Ostarine. Ostarine is a type of drug called a selective androgen receptor modulator known as a SARM. It's not approved by the FDA, but it is sometimes found in supplements. Ostarine attaches to proteins in the body known as androgen receptors. When Ostarine binds to these receptors, it tells the muscles to grow. People use Ostarine for athletic performance, involuntary weight loss due to illness, breast cancer, and many other conditions. But there is no good scientific evidence to support these uses. Ostarine is an investigational drug and therefore not approved by any use by the US FDA. Despite this, it is still sometimes found in dietary supplements. That's important, particularly those marketed for bodybuilding. Ostarine, along with other SARMs, is banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and the National Collegiate Athletic Association, the NCAA. So that is what Ostarine is. Now, I have been around, combat sports, gyms, whatever, fitness, whatever you want to call it, for a number of years. And the one thing I would like to say is this. SARMs are something that bodybuilders and a lot of guys in the fitness industry are very aware of, right? It's not technically a steroid, but it's still something that has steroid-like effects, right? So obviously it's something that is going to help you. And by reading that, you see that it would most likely be something that, one, helps someone put on lean muscle mass, and something that can help you lose weight, right? So if Ryan Garcia is a little bit bigger, and he's trying to drop weight, he's taking this, and apparently it's something that can help you drop the weight. So that's in a way kind of cheating, right? It's helping you cut down and make the weight that, a lot of people were figuring Ryan Garcia was going to struggle to make to begin with. So to say that this wouldn't help him, it definitely would help him. Right now, a similar case that we had seen a number of years ago, that I'll throw up on the screen for you now, was a number of years ago we saw Sugar Sean O'Malley inside the UFC test positive for Ostarine. The exact same thing. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not any of those things. But don't you find it a little bizarre how, what are two things that Ryan Garcia and Sean O'Malley have in common? One, both guys are incredibly lean and skinny, right? They're not like big jack dudes and everyone's like, oh, Ryan Garcia got so big. It's like, well, a lot of that has to do with lighting, right? What he's posting on social media has to do with lighting. Both of these guys are kind of twigs, and people are like, oh, steroids. It's like, well, I know that steroids, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to blow up and become this bodybuilder looking dude. It's some of the effects that it gives you, like recovery and being able to drop weight or being able to put on size, being able to work out more because your body's able to recuperate more. Those are some of the unsung effects that people don't necessarily talk about when it comes to performance enhancers. But Sean O'Malley, these two dudes, they smoke a lot of Mary Jane, dude. So is that kind of a weird, maybe that's just me, but I'm not a doctor. That is a weird coincidence to me, or a weird kind of thing. Both of these guys smoke a bunch of dope, and here we are. both testing positive for Ostarine. So when we look at this, we'll see what Sean O'Malley had said, or we'll look at the article here. Sean O'Malley has been temporarily suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission due to trace amounts of the prohibited substance Ostarine being found in his system. The UFC bantamweight announced Friday on his social media. O'Malley was scheduled, this is when he was back to, scheduled to fight Marlon Chito Vera, blah, blah, blah. He wrote on Instagram on Friday that the U.S. anti-doping agency, the UFC's anti-doping agency partner at the time, will not be sanctioning him because there is a belief that the trace amounts currently being found stem from the previous ingestion. He also wrote that he was looking forward to going before the NSAC with scientific experts to explain why trace amounts of Ostarine were still showing up in his system. He said he never intentionally took performance-enhancing drugs. And then we'll take a look at Sean O'Malley's response in just a second. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because Ryan Garcia and Sean O'Malley, not only because of the way they look and their twigs and all these different things, Ostarine doesn't have a ton of research behind it. It's not like when you look this up, you're like, oh, testosterone ananthate or some sort of like testosterone. Like people go on and there's so much information about it, where this is like very weird. Like there's not a lot going on here when we're talking about SARMs, because it's not exactly a steroid. It's a very different type of performance enhancer that's steroid-like effects, but doesn't have the same type of research behind it. So I think that that's kind of weird. And to say that it's trace amounts, it's not like, whoa, these dudes were lighting it up with Ostarine. They were pounding this thing. It's not like they were pounding it. There's trace amounts. So whenever we see trace amounts, maybe that could be, well, it kind of faded out of the system, or because there were, sprinkles of it in some sort of supplement that you took. Like we're going to take a look at what Ryan Garcia was saying kind of on his X. Some of those are jokes, I'm sure, but who knows? Ostarine's so not like that studied that is it possible that pieces of this are showing up in other types of supplements that maybe people take on the daily or specific pre-workouts? I don't know, but to me it's very bizarre that these guys would test positive for kind of the same type of thing. But here's what Sean O'Malley had to say. I want to share the facts with you about the latest USADA test and how it affects my fight next month. USADA has notified me that Ostarine, the substance that showed up in my system last year and led to USADA sanctioning me, has resurfaced at an extremely low level in 2 recent tests. So not high levels of Ostarine in the system. The good news is that USADA says this is most likely residual from last year and that the low level is providing me with no performance advantage. That's why USADA is not resanctioning me for these test results. I already served a USADA sanction for the presence of Ostarine in my system, and it has decreased dramatically since last year. Now that's weird, right? And is it just me, or is that a little bit weird? Feel free to comment below. If you're still watching this video, comment Garcia down below. But I find it very bizarre that this was something that lingered in the system of Sean O'Malley. So with that being said, that means that whatever these guys were taking, if they weren't taking this substance, it could have been a pre-workout, it could have been some sort of vitamin, it could have been whatever that had bits and pieces of this. Like say it was a daily vitamin and you're taking it every day and you keep hitting the system with this thing. Is that something that's possible? So to just sit here and say that Ryan Garcia has tested positive for a substance is just so coincidental to me, or non-coincidental to me. Dude, Devin Haney and his team, they thought they were going to put a whooping on Ryan Garcia. Even Eddie Hearn, they all did. They thought that Ryan Garcia was not taking it serious. They thought it was light work. They thought Devin Haney, 31-0 coming in, they're like, this is going to be an easy pad to the stats. A social media boxer who happens to have fast hands and isn't a bad-looking guy who everyone kind of looks at as this dude, and we're going to go in there, we're going to dust him up, add to the record, make a bunch of money, and then go on and do other things. And then to see all of this. But let's take a look at what Ryan Garcia has been saying on his social media, because he's had a lot to say, right? So it kind of started with, LOL, my bad, shouldn't have took this. And then he posts ashwagandha root, and it doesn't have any known Ostarine in it. So Ryan Garcia probably just making light of the situation. No weapon against me shall prosper. Then he makes a video saying fake news like if I was Donald Trump. And it's just him with 2 people in the background saying like, man, I'm not a cheater. I didn't test positive. And I don't know. Is it just me or is it weird? Is it weird, guys, that all of a sudden Devin Haney loses when it's a fight that they thought they were going to win? All this stuff just starts coming out this much later. And keep in mind, it's been almost 2 weeks since this boxing match. This isn't like, oh, a week after. We're talking almost 2 weeks now. This happened on April 20th was the boxing match. So you mean to tell me all this time goes by and now they're just going to release this? And then to say, oh, Devin wants his loss taken back. All this and that all seems to me, and Bill Haney, Devin Haney's father, just what an individual he is as well. You know, it just seems to me like they're trying to get that O or that 1 taken off that loss column to put it back to an O, or put an asterisk next to it to be like, oh, he didn't lose, because we know how boxing is. Everybody wants to be undefeated and all these different things. And then Ryan Garcia goes to say, I need more steroids. I'm addicted. I'm going to find out who paid to create this lie. Now I'm going to release everyone's, you know what, time to expose the real snakes. The glove does not fit. I'm seeing with Trump, and now I'm testing positive for steroids. This is a straight attack. They are trying to take my greatest victory away. Kind of sad when you think about it. I don't care. I love God, and he will make this right. You know, that's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like to me. Why is this news just now coming out, right? And I feel like they waited, right? Because right after the boxing match, everyone's like, Ryan, Ryan, Ryan. And then they're like, all right, let everyone get all excited. Let them get excited. And then when it kind of calms down, boom. We'll hit him with the allegations. We'll hit him with it. That's what it seems like to me. Then he says, nah, I ain't going to rematch him. I beat him easy, fair and square. I'd be damned if I rematch him. And if I'm Ryan Garcia, I'm not rematching this dude. I'm not rematching this dude. After all this, I'm not rematching him. I'm moving on and taking my business elsewhere, because whether or not this is true or whatever, Ryan Garcia is one of the biggest names in boxing right now. He damn sure was the A side against Devin Haney, so why would he give him the opportunity again? The odds makers heated, took down the house. Like, there's just a lot of stuff going on with Ryan Garcia here. He says, why in the world would I volunteer for a drug test if I plan on taking drugs? Make it make sense. Exactly. Did he paid for the drug test, allegedly? So, I don't know. To me, this is all very strange. This is all very strange to me. I smell corrupt, dirty boxing industry-like things going on here. But I want to hear from you all down in the comments. Like this video. Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel if you like this video. This took me a while to put together, so I would appreciate it. I appreciate you all. See you next time.